Hello one and all, welcome to another instalment from the channel that is Jono's Graveyard Jaunts. If you are enjoying the content of the channel so far, can I please ask you to like and subscribe, and also please add a comment in the comment section below. Now today I'm once again at the amazing and probably my favourite Church Rock Cemetery in the city of Nottingham. Now the person who features in today's video is an architect who was originally from Mansfield in Nottinghamshire, and his name was Watson Fothergill. I have to confess I'm a bit of a building geek, and I love this man's unique, flamboyant and very ostentatious way of designing buildings. In today's video I shall visit some of the amazing buildings that still exist in Nottingham today that Watson Fothergill designed. I shall also visit his final resting place here at Church Rock Cemetery. I'm actually at the junction of Mapley Road in Nottingham and Mansfield Road in Nottingham. Now, what's interesting about this area I'm standing in, here's Mansfield Road, this busy road here. This was formerly called Gallows Hill, and they used to actually hang people here. Now the gates to Church Rock Cemetery, where Watson Fothergill is buried, is just there. Now remember what we said about his signature design. He designed this building here. You can see the classic turret there, his signature tune. We've also got the dark gables there, and you can clearly see it's a Watson Fothergill design. So directly opposite Mapley Road is the entrance to Church Rock Cemetery where he's buried, and this is St Andrew's Church, where not only did Watson Fothergill attend, he actually designed this church itself. So I'm going to show you again. If you look at the tower there, you can see the turrets reminiscent of his signature tune. So this is St Andrew's Church, right opposite Church Rock Cemetery, where he attended, and he actually designed this building. Now, he was a practicing architect between 1870 and 1912, so it would have been designed and built around that time frame. So St Andrew's Church is here, Church Rock Cemetery is over there, and this is Mapley Road here, where he designed this building. So lots and lots of influence. As I say, he designed over 100 buildings, churches and everything. A really, really important figure in the history of Nottingham. Watson Fothergill was one of the leading local architects practicing in the city of Nottingham area from around 1870 to 1912. And during these 35 years or so, he designed over 100 buildings, including houses, banks, churches, shops and warehouses, many of which still survive to this present day. He worked in the Gothic revival and Old English vernacular styles, very popular in the Victorian times. And these styles were loosely based on medieval churches and castles and 16th and 17th century Tudor buildings. Now Fothergill's buildings were very distinctive, often featuring towers and turrets, tall chimneys, and walls decorated with horizontal lines of blue and black and red bricks. His offices, located on George Street in Nottingham, are now a designated Grade 2 listed building adorned by the statue of a medieval architect generally thought to be a romantic depiction of himself, still exists to this present day. So here we are in Nottingham, guys, 15 to 17 George Street, and the former offices of Watson Fothergill. And that picture on the side, that statue, was meant to be a depiction of himself apparently. And you can see the beautiful classic Watson Fothergill styling with the turrets, the use of red and blue brick, and also the dark eaves there. It's just such a beautiful period building. So this was Watson Fothergill's offices when he was a practicing architect in the city of Nottingham. It's absolutely stunning. It really stands out. This is right up my street. Sorry about the empty bottles there, obviously emptying them from the local boozer. And you can see how incongruous it is with the rest of the buildings. It stands out because it's so beautiful. This is right up my street. I've got a degree in property, so I love this sort of stuff. It's Victorian, it's flamboyant, it's ostentatious and it's unique. I absolutely love it. And this for me is the jewel in the crown of Watson Fothergill's portfolios. Remember, he actually built and he designed and built over 100 buildings in the city of Nottingham. And again, you've got the use of the turrets there to replicate castles, which he was trying to incorporate into his designs. And just look how stunning that is, like cathedral-esque with the windows on the side. They're almost church-like. It's just beautiful. So this is 15 to 17 George Street in the centre of Nottingham. His more important buildings were decorated with the carvings of animals, plants, beasts and grotesques. He also often used heavy dark wood beams in porches and eaves of his buildings. Watson Fothergill was born Fothergill Watson on the 12th of July 1841 in Mansfield. Now, he later changed his name to Watson Fothergill in 1892 to continue his mother's family name. His father was in turn a well-to-do lace manufacturer and merchant, and when Fothergill was 9 years old, he was sent away to boarding school in London. But when his father died in 1853, his mother moved from Mansfield to Nottingham, and Fothergill returned with her to go to a less expensive Nottingham school. Now, Fothergill left school at age 15 in 1856 and became a trainee with Frederick Jackson, who was a civil engineer, architect and surveyor in Nottingham. Jackson was also a friend of Fothergill Watson's late father and executor for Watson Sr.'s will. It is thought that Fothergill may have worked on the plans of Nottingham that were published by Jackson in 1861. And after 4 years, Fothergill went to work for I.C. Gilbert, who was a Nottingham architect. Fothergill then spent 2 years in London studying and working part-time in the architect of Arthur Bloomfield's office, and in 1864 he returned to Nottingham to set up his own practice on Clinton Street. So we're in an area in Nottingham called the Park. It's a very nice, very suburban area. And these were the first two properties that Watson Fothergill designed. We have 5 and we have 7 Lenton Road. These two properties here. And as you can see, you've got the trademark turret there. And also with the windows. If we look at the window there, I'll just zoom in on it. Again, it's very church-like, very cathedral-esque, that round one there. So you can clearly see the Fothergill signature. So this is in the very, I would say, I think it's quite upper middle class actually. An area called the Park in Nottingham, 5 to 7 Lenton Road. If you do want to visit, these were the first properties that Watson Fothergill designed. Now, Fothergill's first major work came about when he won a competition for the design of Albert Hall in Nottingham. The hall was opened on September the 20th, 1876, but burned down in 1906. And in 1876, he also designed the new premises for the Nottingham Daily Express, called the Express Chambers on Parliament Street in Nottingham. And we're just up on Mapley Road from Church Rock Cemetery up the hill, and another Watson Fothergill building. You can see the turret there, use of red and blue brick. You see the blue edging brickwork there. Clearly it's obvious that it's designed by the great man himself. That's his signature tune, his turrets, red and blue brick. And it's just up the hill from Gallows Hill, where they used to hang people on Mapley Road. Between 1877 and 1878, Fothergill's career had really taken off, and he did his first work for the Nottingham and Notts Bank and the trustees of Brunt's Charity, and these two were to become regular clients of his over the years. Over the next 20 years, Fothergill designed private houses, shops, offices, warehouses, public houses, banks, and at least 2 coffee taverns, the teetotalers version of public houses. Now, Fothergill was in turn fascinated by cricket and made sure his trips to London coincided with the major matches of the cricket season. He followed Nottinghamshire county cricket games and made notes of Notts CC team's progress in his diaries. He was also a great art lover and collected paintings and sculptures on his travels. His favourite artist was Bonington, and he paid for a statue of him to be erected at the Nottingham School of Art.
In 1901, when he was aged 60, Fothergill decided to cut down on his work to 3 days a week, as he wrote in his diary, and I quote, "so as to make my profession just an amusement." There are few planning applications for him after 1906, and they ceased altogether after March of 1912. And there are many fine examples of his quirky, imaginative architecture that set Watson Fothergill apart from his Victorian contemporaries. There is the amazing Rose of England pub on Mansfield Road, for example.
Is a Watson Fothergill design. You can see the dark wood gables and the turret and the use of red and blue brick. The signature tune of Watson Fothergill. Again, it's a beautiful building. It's on Mansfield Road in Nottingham, just down the road from Church Rock Cemetery where he's buried. So if you'll have lunch here and do the honourable thing and have a pint in his memory. So you can see it's clearly got the very distinctive design associated with the great man himself. So do check it out if you are in the city of Nottingham.
The impressive headquarters of what was Nottingham and Notts Bank in Thurland Street, where eagle-eyed observers can spot an example of his mischievous sense of humour. He carved a monkey on the facade of his bank, which was said to depict the adage that a mortgage was like the monkey on a person's back.
And we're on Thurland Street now, guys, in the city of Nottingham, and this is the old bank designed by Watson Fothergill. And again, just look at the classic style, the ostentation, the ornate decoration. It's just beautiful, and the use of dark wood if we go right up to the top there. Now, what he very cleverly did, to use a metaphor, there's a monkey, a depiction of a monkey on the side of this bank somewhere to denote that a mortgage is like having a monkey on your back, which is, I think, is a really great and clever analogy. So this is, as I say, the old bank on Thurland Street in Nottingham. It's a beautiful building. I'm just zooming on some of the decorations so you can see how elaborate it is. Again, we'll zoom in on up there. I can't see the monkey anywhere, guys. I've had a good look, but I know it exists. If it's there. So this is again in downtown Nottingham. There's loads and loads of buildings designed by him in the city. So if you do pay a visit, you'll be able to recognise it, to say, by the dark eaves, the use of dark wood on the gables at the top there, and the turrets, and the use of red and blue brick. It's a very, very stunning building. So again, this is the former bank on Thurland Street. If you are ever in the city of Nottingham, come and pay it a visit. Designed by the legendary architect Watson Fothergill.
Now, Fothergill died in 1928 at the age of 87 and is buried here at Church Rock Cemetery. He left a fortune of more than £73,000, worth about 4.4 million today.
So here I am at the final resting place of Watson Fothergill at Church Rock Cemetery in Nottingham on Mansfield Road. Now, that wall behind, there's actually at the bottom of that, there's about 20 foot below that wall is the sandpit where the paupers are buried. So if you do want to come and visit, just remember that as a reference point. This wall along here, if you just look over it, there's about a 20 foot drop, and that's where the sandpit is, where the paupers are buried. So that's your reference point if you do want to visit. Now, what people have said about it, it looks like a bird's table, and it does, to be honest. It's made out of pink granite, and I'll just zoom in on it so you know it's Watson Fothergill's. And probably like me, when I first saw it, I thought, wow, it's such an unostentatious grave for a man who designs such flamboyant, ostentatious and ornate, beautiful buildings. It's really quite unassuming, and that was the first thing that struck me. And it does look like a bird's table in many respects. It's hexagonal, pink granites, and I won't go around the other side, but it just says when he died. I believe it was the 6th of March 1928, aged 86 years. But you can clearly see it's his grave there because it says Watson and then Fothergill around there. So this is the final resting place of the great man himself in Church Rock Cemetery. Rest in peace, Watson. Thank you for the amazing building, and that will be your legacy. It will live on through those amazing buildings that you've designed throughout Nottingham. Rest in peace.
And that, guys, concludes the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, can I please ask you to like and subscribe and add a comment in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching.